Do we currently do anything with that? No. This is the... Yeah, this is... motion added to our jump when we wall jump. So we got the Z multiplier and the Z add. Dagwood dogs? Corn dogs? That's our jump kill. So this is going to be our kill jump force. And basically there's a force that we apply. This is the force applied to halt our vertical motion when we've jumped. When we release our control. You're like, this could be good. This was not good. Though I don't know, like I always end up just like eating mini corn dogs if I'm gonna buy corn dogs. Passive velocity constant. This would be the momentum passive. Yes, this is momentum stuff. This would be our passive velocity change. This is the passive. This is the amount of force to change our velocity when we aren't actively attempting to change our velocity. I swear that makes sense. What the hell are we even using the passive velocity constant for? Okay, so that's the passive velocity constant is not something that we should be tuning. That's just a constant. Alright, so that's the passive velocity constant, momentum, passive change, momentum, active change. Alright, so this will be active velocity change. This is the amount of force to change your velocity when attempting to move. Alright, so jump, slope. I guess jumpable slope value. This is the surface normal in the Z, where if C is greater than this value, we cannot jump. 0, the value of 0 for is a vertical wall, a value of 1 is flat ground. Alright, so we need a couple more, just 2 more. So we've got the slidable slope value. It's the surface normal where greater, and we begin sliding. Slidable slope value, and then the slidable slope force. Yes. Slidable slope force. This is the force of our slidable slope. Now, do we actually want this? Because it's basically just gravity. Like, if it's not equal to gravity, then we probably just want it to be gravity, to be honest. So why don't we just get rid of slope slide gravity and just use gravity? So I think that's our object. So good. Let's go ahead and assign all of our default values to these things. Chocolate crackles. I mean, those 5th birthday parties gonna get kind of off the chain, right? Like, everybody's doing cocaine because it's your 5th birthday party, and people are overdosing on stuff and dying all over the place. They can get kind of nuts. And those preschoolers just are insane. Alright, so we need movement, data structures. Where are you? Characters, movement, Dashkin character. Characters, movement, data structures, CPP. So what we're going to want to do here now is provide some basic default values for this. Forget the Sweet 16. Yeah. Sweet 16, man, you got nothing to worry about. It's the freaking five-year birthday that you need to worry about. And some of you may have noticed I'm not prefixing these with like an M underscore or something else. That's because they're going to show up in the editor, and it's dealing with the M underscores for things when you're in the editor just sucks. So we're not going to have ugly variable names here. What we're doing here is we're going to be assigning defaults to these values. So when you first make an asset out of this, it's going to have these specific values set. Red cordial hangovers for days. Alright. I should probably just make these all camel case so OCD doesn't hunt me down and murder me in my sleep. So let's just do that. Camel case it is. And this is a lot of programming stuff when you actually know what the hell you're doing, is just a lot of bullshit like this, where you're just sitting here staring at a freaking screen while you're just changing the case of a variable and setting some other crap up. Because we're not actually like doing real work at this point. What we're doing is, well, we're doing work, but we're just setting it up so we can do actual work later. Because, you know, it's just like exposing all the variables and like doing all the things. Because we spent like all this time making the system, and now we're making the system usable. You know, yeah. You know, there's nothing that's really new or exciting. It's just like, well, you gotta go just, you did your fun stuff, you ate your cake, now you gotta go eat your meat and potatoes. And it's like not the best meat, it's just like you gotta get some calories in you sort of stuff. Which is one thing that's been interesting. The past couple of years, I've like stopped eating candy because I find stuff that's more savory to be more up my alley for snacks. Like spicy stuff now, as opposed to like sweet stuff then. Alright, we're just going to set some basic defaults that are all trashed here. Should we throw this all in a member initialization list, or should we just have it in the constructor? I really don't give a shit. Let's just throw it in the constructor. Mills are for chumps. Alright, so by default you can jump. By default you can wall jump. By default you can control in the air. By default you can move. By default, we will use precision checks. Actually, that will default to false. Gravity effects object defaults to true. Movement type will usually just oh yeah, we're also gonna want that spawn action to be here in here, aren't we? It's gonna be one of these big ones, like physics spawn action. This controls how this object is spawned into the world. The occasional juicy steak. All the steaks. I guess it's also interesting since I stopped, like, since now I'm not working at Amazon or some big company and I don't have like that weekly paycheck or whatever, you get super tight on like everything that you want to buy. So now I'm like, oh, I don't want to buy that and like other crap, so I end up eating a lot more like pork and chicken than steak. Alright, so we need our spawn action as well. So our default spawn action is going to be place on the ground. Our default movement type is going to be locomotion. Alright, so horizontal move speed. Is this our max? Maybe we should set those. Yeah, we need to actually call them max. Mainly because you actually have to pay for it now. It's kind of the opposite. When I was more in the city, I was in the city because I was working at, you know, jobs that pay money. Like the job I got right now doesn't pay shit. Thanks, Adam. So we need that vertical, horizontal speed. Yeah, this is how fast the object. So max. So what's our max that we got basically right now? 10,000? What is this? 10,000 up? Yeah. been great exposure. Oh yeah, I should be grateful. Unpaid, all that stuff. Yeah. Nah, well, we're all gonna be rolling in millions of dollars, and this is all done, right? Dashkin's gonna be one of the classic games of all time. Everyone is going to absolutely love this game. People will tell their children, they're like, "Where were you? Where were you when Dashkin was released?" And a lot of people are gonna be like, "Well, I was on my couch watching the live stream of Kirk and Adam play Dashkin when they released it." That's what they're gonna. That's what you're gonna tell stories to your grandkids about, like how much I was swearing when like Bitey fell off into like a spike pit and died. It's gonna be the progression of the human race right there. I'm sorry. Alright, so wall jump minimum room is 20. Kickoff distance is 10. Mantle height? I think we got that set at 40, so we'll just keep that. Bitey dies on spike. Spoiler alert. Hey now! Shit! That sucks. I like how your air control is 20,000, but gravity is only 10,000. So like your air control is actually like, even with this crappy tuning and everything, its air control is twice the force of gravity. Just it's hilarious. Yeah, we're watching you, Adam. Like you're all like, Kirk, I'm gonna tell you parts of the story. I don't want you to tell anybody, and then it's you dropping all the freaking spoilers in chat here. I need to ban you from this channel now because of this. This is gonna happen. You brought it on yourself, buddy. This is our landable slope. It's like a 0.1 or something. Landable normal Z is this tiny little thing. 0.001 F, yeah. Seppuku? Yeah, well, I didn't put, all the Mubot commands that you got, because I'm not as amazing as a Twitch broadcaster you are. And I say that non-sarcastically. So, take that as you will. Let's see, it's 1.0 F? Yeah, 0.0 F. Kill jump. What is our jump kill? Jump kill is like, 40,000. Yeah, jump kill force is actually 4 times the force of gravity. How crazy is that? You can will yourself. You're basically, when you're holding that jump button, you are willing yourself at 30,000 velocity. Is it gravity or centrifugal force? Centripetal? Whatever. So our passive velocity change is 15,000. Our active velocity change is 25 or 20,000. And jumpable slope value is 0.5. Slidable slope is 0.9. And I think what I'm also going to do is I'm going to move these all of these enums that we had here. I'm going to throw them at the top of the data structures file. That'll include Dashkin, movement, data structures right here. Are we even using this movement data crap? Like, we've got it, but we haven't actually hooked it up, so I should probably do that at some point. So, hook up the Dashkin movement data to provide easy access to basic information about the entity. Alright, so we've got that. Basics are going on here. So supposedly we pulled all this data out. Let's make sure we didn't screw up all the things. We're going to have a lot of animation stuff here. And it may be that once we actually figure out... we'll see. What have I done? I'm confused. What the hell, Australia? I do not understand why this is not working. We completely... Those things are totally defined. Why are you bitching? I think there's some shenaniganry going on here. Something's getting screwed up here that shouldn't be. Like, it's complaining that things don't exist when they definitely exist. Trying to compile Dashkin movement object. Dashkin movement object is complaining that something doesn't exist that should exist. I think it has something to do with some of the other compiler errors. This is confusing. Why it's not detecting these things as being part of the class when they most definitely are part of the class? Like, I don't want to rebuild everything just to make sure there's nothing crazy, but these errors should not be here. It's like some incremental build failure or something else that's causing it, because these should just work. Utils. That should include this, and this file's there. Well, let's just comment out a whole bunch of crap and see if that does anything for us, because this is concerning. It should just... we didn't change anything. Alright, something else. This doesn't make any sense that these things are broken. None at all. Absolutely not. These are all declared variables. This just smells like something's wrong with the build and I need a rebuild. Well, then let's I just want to clean one project though. Yeah, clean only Dashkin. And then let's build. I just hated that one tree. The tree died just fucking. Did they pick another tree, or was that tree just like, nah, screw this tree in particular. I've had it with this thing. Alright, so since we gotta compile this thing, it's not a 40-minute compile, but it might be a little while. I guess we can tell stories or something else. So what do people want to hear about? If I was gonna tell a story about something, what would it be? Oh, this will be done here in just a second, so maybe. I think so. Go to land in a tree that wasn't. Tell us about the car you had when you were at EA. I mean, that's the same car that I have now. Like, there's no stories about that car. It's just a car. Like, I mean, I didn't use it at EA. Like, I walked to work every day, and the only days I didn't walk to work and I actually drove were when I was like super tired and lazy and didn't want to walk 20 minutes. So there's not much to tell about the car. I mean, I used the car, so I never really used the car, so it really wasn't a big deal. Like, I used the car so infrequently that the battery was pretty much always drained. So whenever I had to actually go run the car might have had some history. No, like, the car doesn't have any history. Like, actually, like, nothing has happened in that car. Like, I had to charge it up like every frickin' time. All right, yeah, it did clean every damn thing, didn't it? Jesus Christ. So we're gonna be here for 40 frickin' minutes, I think, doing the compile because of reasons. I don't know what car you're. I have no recollection of anything where the car might have had history. So we'll see how long this thing takes. Yeah, I think you're insane, Adam. You're talking crazy things that I've never heard about. A 76 Ford Escort? Like, what? No, the car I was driving was a 2007 Astra. Like, it's just a frickin' like station wagon sort of thing. It's the car they used in the Italian Job, right? It's a 4-door. Yeah, I think you have like some awful memories about when we were there. You must have it confused with something else. I mean, I can tell, like, there was one time where I accidentally ran. Yours was a 4-door? Or okay, so if you thought the car that we were in was a 2-door, then we got problems. Like, it must have been somebody else that you were with. I mean, I can tell the story about the one time I accidentally outran the cops in the car. That was totally on accident. But I was basically coming back to this place. I lived in Foster City for a while, which is just northwest of Redwood City. Not that far, like as the crow flies, only like 1 or 2 miles between like the office and work. But driving was actually like 30 miles away. Yeah. So it actually took almost as long to drive to work as it took to walk to work. So whenever I was driving, it was just kind of frustrating getting to where I lived, because basically where I lived, like I can draw a really awesome picture which has nothing to do with water. But basically, like, Foster City is kind of like this island thing, and then like Redwood City is over here, and then there's like Highway 101, which goes through here, which everyone has to take, and then there's like these canals, and like the bay is over here, so all like this stuff is water. And I lived like right here, and work was like over here, and there was this like series of paths and stuff that went over and around where you could walk, and it was really nice. It was like this nice wetlands area. People would jog through it, and that's where I'd walk. So like me walking to work was like just literally I could just walk, and it was not a problem at all. But driving, I had to like go over here, take this road over here, go over here, here, and then you get on like the main street that like freaking goes over to 101, and then get on the highway, and then you get off the highway over here, and because there's a big curving road that comes through Redwood City like this, and and there's EA headquarters over there. The dog shit? No, it was geese that you had to watch out for through the wetlands. Well, it was really just like fish that were birds that were eating fish, so it really wasn't a big problem. But so I had to drive all this like circuitous crap in here, and you get really good at driving on residential streets and knowing the area when like some of the streets are all screwed up, and sometimes it's better to like take a little detour, and like sometimes I can cut some of these corners off in the drive if somebody's driving real slow, like somebody's grandma's out there. Just get right around that. You don't have to worry about it. So I was driving back from EA headquarters at like 10 at night or something, so it was all dark out, and drove through and whipped around, and basically there was a cop who was waiting like right here on the street, and I come whipping around here like 50 miles an hour, like a 30 mile per hour road or 25 mile per hour road, and I look left, and I think it's a cop. Like there's like some dude at a stop sign, and you're like, I think that's a police officer, but I have absolutely no idea if that's true. So then you're like, oh shit, he didn't like fire up the roof or anything, or like flash his lights at me. So, there was no indication that, this is definitely a police officer. But I'm like, ah, crap. So I basically just like start going faster. Right? It's like, I don't know if that's a police officer. It might have been. So, fuck it. They already got me if they're going to get me. So let's just do this, and I like take a quick right off of this place and into like these residential side streets that kind of just curve around. And so I take like this semi-circuitous route, but that I know like the back of my hand, that goes around these streets, and boom, right into my apartment complex. And the apartment complex has like this kind of circuitous, windy road as well that kind of goes back into. If I had to draw out the apartment complex, it was kind of like the main road comes into it, and then you come into the apartment complex, and there's this road that goes way around this whole place, and there's water and just trees and all this stuff, and then these like units that kind of come out like this, and like there's like these parking spots in the middle that come out. And basically my parking spot, like I lived with a roommate at the time, and my parking spot is back here. So I come in, right around all these corners, whip around here, and normally my roommate has parked in the parking spot. Yeah, that's another story. Normally he's parked in the parking spot, but on this day, he had decided that no, he's not going to park in the parking spot because he had parked in it for like the last week, so he wasn't going to do it. So I come whipping around here, and I'm expecting to have to like go find a parking spot, but it's open. So I just whip into the parking spot, you know, cut the engine, and then just like start walking real fast for my door. And to take this, like I had basically whipped around this whole thing at like 60 miles an hour. I was not going slow. I was going super fast. And I made it 10 feet from my car, and the police car comes around from the other side. And he doesn't have his lights on or anything, but he's just there. And he comes right by, and I'm like halfway up the steps to my apartment. And I'm just like, oh shit. So yeah, I just went into my apartment building as if there was nothing wrong. And I went to my room and shut the door. And you know, I went out like 5 minutes later. I was like, dude, I just outran the cops. Thanks for not parking in the parking spot. You just saved me from getting caught. And my roommate's just like, what the fuck are you talking about? It was very dark, right? It was at night, and I was driving so damn fast that this guy had probably no chance to spot me, because, you know, he was parked at, you know, a stop sign when I went past, so he wouldn't have gotten my plates then. And then turning on, like, I was going super quick. And so there was no chance. Like, he never actually had me, like, like, he probably saw me because there's, like, nothing between the street and all these. He probably would have seen, like, my lights, you know, coming around the corner over here. But he never would have actually seen my car other than, like, that it was red or something. He probably didn't get a good beat on it. And if you're out of the car and all that stuff, and they don't know who actually was driving it, like, who are they going to give the ticket to? The owner of the car? Well, you could just go in and say, Your Honor, I wasn't driving the car. It was my asshole roommate. Or, I don't know who was driving my car. My keys were the whole time. I was asleep. I forget. You know, like, there's nothing that they can pin you for, so there's literally nothing they can do. So, in this case, the police probably saw my car and were like, that's probably the guy right there. And then they saw there's nobody in it, and they're just like, fuck, you got us. And then kept going. So that's how I successfully outran the cops. Completely on accident. And I believe I can keep that as, like, it was on accident that I outran the cops, because I didn't know they were cops. Because they never fired up their roof. They never hit the sirens. They never did anything. They just, you know, I had a suspicion, but suspicion is not proof. So yeah, that's one thing that happened. That was a thing. Well, it's on tape now. Or is it all a lie? Anyway, that was like 6 years ago, so good luck with that one. Hold on, guys. There's a knock at the door at 1 in the morning. Yes, it's on tape. It's going on YouTube. Whatever. Totally legit. Now, I have surprisingly had no real run-ins with law enforcement. Like, I've only gotten like 3 tickets in my life or something like that. Only one of them was for going at any real speed. Like, I got a ticket for going like over 100 miles an hour when I was like 16, you know? But nothing else really. So yeah, I mean, the only time we ever had to call the police was when, like, people were drunk idiots. So nothing insane. What else happened? I mean, there's really nothing else with that car. I mean, the only time that the car got hit, like, was no toying with heavyset security guards on foot. No, I haven't run away from people on foot or anything like that. I mean, I did, like, because I walked to work all the time there. That was always nice. But I walked by. I walked the whole place where I was with Foster City and EA was real nice because it's this nice wetlands area, and you'd walk through like Oracle headquarters is over here, and they got that like big ass boat and all that cool shit. This is all like office parks and like real high end stuff around there. Used to remind me how you used to run from the cops. I'll be like, Adam, the cops are coming. Boom, gun. Just instinct with that guy. But it was always like nice and corporate, so it's not like when I was walking to Amazon in Seattle, and you walk in Seattle and there's just a bunch of homeless people and like a bunch of people walking around in masks and stupid crap that try to look tough. And this was like you'd walk this whole thing and you'd never see a person. You just see a bunch of angry geese, and that was about it. And one time I found the security guard's badge for Oracle just laying on the ground. While I was walking, it was 2 in the morning, and I'm just walking in front of Oracle, and there's this freaking security guard's like his access badge to the building just sitting there. I'm just like, oh shit, like this is my chance. I can rob Oracle. I could do this right now. But then I realized that that was probably a bad idea, and that I should probably give the poor security guard his badge back, and I should go find the security guard. So I start walking around the Oracle campus, corporate headquarters, at 3 in the morning or whatever, with a security guard's badge, looking super legit. And I just go and like start banging on the door at the front of the building. Yeah, yeah. Oracle's home. And so I'm there in the morning, and this guy, there's a person in there, and I'm just like banging on the door, and he looks up, and he's just, he's like, go away. And I just like keep knocking, and he's probably just like, what the fuck? There's this guy, he's probably drunk. I don't know. Get out of here, buddy. But I'm not leaving. I'm just still banging on the door. So he like radios for backup and all this stuff. And like he's not coming over, so I just like put the badge in like the glass window there. I'm just like, it's right here, and he still just doesn't take a hint. So I just chuck it on the ground and walk away. So and this is before his like backup shows up and all that stuff. So I just walk away, and I like to imagine that his backup showed up, and they found his badge on the ground, and somebody's trying to give it to him while, like they'll pick it up on the way in or something. And he's sitting there, and he doesn't have his badge on, and he's like telling about like some crazy person banging on the door trying to tell him something, and they walk in, and they're like, yeah, you lost your fucking badge, dumbass. And just like, oh, okay, yeah, huh. So that, I don't know, nothing else, nothing too much crazy going on there. I do remember one thing with Adam that he mentioned there. Like, we didn't talk very much at all. Oh, man. The goose. Well, you were just there when the geese were there. The geese migrate. And those geese were vicious bastards. They'd attack you. But I don't give a shit about geese. They attack you. You just hit them, and then you keep walking. They get smart real quick when you're not taking their crap. They learn to attack other people and not you. They're like, oh yeah, okay, nah, he'll kick me in the face if I come over there. But intimidation doesn't work on that thing. What I was gonna say, I think we had very few interactions, but I think one of the interactions that we did have was you were talking about how when we're in the stalls in the EA bathroom, I mean, this is something you brought up, by the way, so this is your fault, that like when you're sitting there in the stalls, you know, usually you've got your badge, right, which has your picture on it and everything. It's just clipped to your pants, right? So when you sit in the stalls, you know, obviously your pants are, you know, as a normal person would, you don't just sit on the toilet fully clothed. You drop those pants down. So your badge is lying just on the ground, right? And you know the stalls here had, you know, they didn't go to the ground, so you'd be able to see the guy who's in the stall next to you. You just see his ID card badge with his face on it. And I think you had like a 10-minute conversation just like over at my desk about how it was just disconcerting that you'd see that person's face and just the horrible image stuck in your head of what that person is next to you doing. And you're just like, is that exactly like what they look like right now? And then 20 minutes later, I think there was like, or an hour later, you came back and you had drawn a picture of Doug. And I kind of was like, so you were just in the stall next to Doug, and so you got this image stuck in your head, and then you went and drew a picture of Doug or something. Like, if I remember properly. Yeah, you drew a picture. So yeah, I think that's the one that you drew. And I remember just thinking, I was like, man, artists are fucking weird. And I went back to programming. See, that was the cool thing about moving when I switched from EA 2D/BioWare San Francisco to Waystone Games. I was now on the executive floor at EA headquarters with, you know, Frank Chabot and Sean Decker and all the rest of the important people. And the bathrooms are just amazing on executive floors because they got nice music playing. There's like real nice, you know, airflow that just goes up and out and all that stuff. So it's just totally the most amazing thing of all time. Yeah, there you go. I don't think I had seen that one before. Yeah. That's totally what I was talking about. Yeah, so I wasn't just making all that crap up. That really happened. Because, you know, you have these weird-ass memories in the back of your head, and then you kind of question your own sanity later. Like, did that really happen? Yeah, July 28th, 2010. Wow. Yeah. I cannot believe how accurate my memory is of that then. That's really there. So small things. Yes, those are some of the only interactions I ever had with Adam were about bathroom stalls. We have a very deep and rich relationship with each other. And each other's bathrooms. Yeah. So what else have we got going on? Like, I mean, I don't have any other bathroom stories. Like that's as exciting as it got, I think. We only got another at least 10 minutes here for this crap to build. Let's see, what would be a good thing to talk about? Like, I don't know. Just popped in my head one. This one you might have drawn. I don't know if you drew that one while you're at EA. I don't remember that one at all. I do remember we had tons of issues with our build system, and our build system was our deployment system was called Chef, and Chef would constantly screw everything up. The Chef build and like deployment system is basically everything is like you have a chef, and one of the programs is like knife, and the other ones are you have recipes, and you like knife something, and chef the other things and all that. See, I was right. This piece of crap wasn't building earlier, and it was total bullshit. I was like, no, your compiler, you're wrong, and well, the compiler was wrong. So okay, so I was right. Suck it, Visual Studio. So this was around the time with South Park where Chef quit South Park. So Doug was I think it was an assistant producer, and he became a producer later, but he got a little picture of Chef, and he just like, Chef, I quit, and just slapped it on the wall next to the platform team that like was responsible for the build system, because they'd always screw up build deployments and everything and be complaining about Chef all the time. So even our assistant producers were like pissed off at our platform team for fucking everything up all the time, that we just became a joke. And I was on the platform team for a while there, but that was not by choice. Basically, they shoved me over there because somebody had to fix all the broken shit. Because, yeah, platform team engineers were, let's just say they had problems. I mean, I know you got a picture of Doug in there somewhere. That was a pretty cool picture of Doug, Adam. I don't know if you still got it somewhere, but it was like you were fascinated by his rosy red cheeks, and because he was always smiling all the time. So you got like a really happy picture of him. And Doug was super jazzed when you made it. He was like, "This picture's awesome," and that picture was over his desk for the next like 2 years. Alright, so let's boot up the editor here. Yeah, he uses his avatar. Yeah, that was a cool picture. Which, we actually found out why his cheeks were red all the time. It's because he had, like, celiac disease and did not know it. Which, if you're unfamiliar with celiac disease, that is, this whole, like, gluten-free movement and all that crap is really kind of related to it, where celiac disease is like, you have it and you can't eat gluten. And if you do, like, really bad stuff happens to you. Like, your gut starts getting eaten by your white blood cells, and your immune system starts to backfire on you. And it's something you don't put it together, because it only happens like every... Yeah, he still got it. Yeah, that was the best. Yeah, that's true. He's still using it. But celiac disease is... But you won't... It's not like you eat like a slice of bread and then all of a sudden you feel like death. It's like you eat a slice of bread and then in 2 days you feel bad. So you never really put it together that, like, I ate something 2 days ago and now I feel bad. And it's trace amounts of gluten, right? So if you ate like something that even was cooked on the same surface as, a piece of bread, like you ate like, a nice piece of fish or something, but it had been cooked on a surface that had just had gluten on it, you might get sick then. So it's like nearly impossible. Just randomly throughout your life, you'll feel bad. And it's also something that you don't really, like, your body's really good at living with it for quite a while. It kind of doesn't, the damage is still occurring, but your body's real good at covering it up. And his cheeks were always red because he was always just a little bit inflamed. So he now drinks vodka sodas instead of beer. That's how it works. Alright, so now in our movement data structure, we've got all these toggles. As you can see, they're toggleable and all that stuff. And we've got like our locomotion there, place on ground is there. We got our max, vertical speeds. We've got all of our constants here, and this looks correct. This all looks real good. So that's how we'll be able to make different movement